This is Country Music Dads, the parenting podcast with a twang. We're driving a highly subjective, comically contrarian, often irreverent conversation about fatherhood and country music for people who have a passion for both. My name is Donnie, and I'm a country music dad.
I'm Dave, and I'm also a country music dad. Award season is here, so it's time we weigh in on what is most deserving this year of our ears and our attention. It's the 2026 Grammy Awards preview edition of Country Music Dads. Parents like us are spread thin coming out of the holidays, so let us be your guides as we predict who will win, who should win, and who got snubbed from the world of country music. Donnie, this year especially, there's a little bit of extra intrigue this year because there's a brand new category.
Or two, I guess you could say.
Or two, yeah. So they split the best country album category. There is now a best traditional country album and a best contemporary country album. I think this was a direct result of Beyonce and Cowboy Carter winning the best country album last year. It drove a lot of ratings, a lot of social media traffic after last year's awards in 2025. And now the power of Beyonce reverberates to 2026, and there are two categories.
I don't think that's the whole story. I think a little bit of what had been happening behind the scenes for a while was that people were pretty sick of highly influenced modern music impacting what was seen as country music. I think it may have came to a head with Beyonce, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think what ended up happening was that the traditional category was established or was put into progress for years. There was a couple of stories that came out in the aftermath of a lot of this saying that the folks at La Honda Records and a few other kind of influential, independent, traditional country music producers were out there saying like, hey, we don't have a shot here. We can't get our guys a shot when you have Nashville Music Row dominating every aspect of this, what is arguably not a traditional view of what country music is. Take it for what it is. Morgan Wallen doesn't really make what you could consider the next evolution of country music. He makes the next evolution pop music influenced by a number of different genres, including country, but he was nominated over the years for a number, wasn't he?
At least the song. I think that the Post Malone song.
The Post Malone song, but like that's a good example, right? Post Malone's a good example of his music being closer to a more traditional country sound, at least what he likes to play. This new stuff that he created was much more in line with the highly hip-hop influenced, highly trap influenced, sample influenced, and just it wasn't a instrumentally based thing. So over the years it shifted, unfortunately aligned with Beyonce's album, I think, for the perception that it was a reaction to it. But in many ways it was a reaction to the type of music that Beyonce ended up making and calling her country album, her Beyonce album that was approaching the country space. Doesn't matter, perception's reality, right? What ends up happening here is that there are two categories, one being traditional, one being contemporary, and we end up with arguably a pretty great list of albums, minus a few, that are in both categories. I think it was a good change. What do you think? You think it was a good move?
Yeah, I was really excited by the change because for one, it just expands the number of artists that get to be recognized. It's almost like the college football playoffs expanding to 12 teams. You get more opportunity for somebody to get their name into the ring. Instead of 5, you get 10 different albums that are up for different awards. And I like that. I like that it brings some more recognition to the artists out there. And definitely the more traditional ones that weren't getting the kind of the awards play as they were, as the others, the country radio type of acts we're getting.
There are other categories that break it down like that too. I believe that rhythm and blues has it as well. And so there are a few kind of more traditional categories that have evolved from their historical place. Country music has not had its hyphenated experience like many other genres of music. Like rock has its hyphenated experience, rock and roll, psychedelic rock, punk rock, new wave. There were just a million different variations on what rock and roll music is and what it has become, and how you can create that larger genre that way. Country music really doesn't have that, right? You look at what Jelly Roll put out and you look at what Zach Top put out, and they're both played on country radio, and it's called country music. But if you listen to those songs back to back, they are not the same genre. They just aren't. They're not the same type of music. Sonically, they're different. From the content of their stories, the approach to the music that's in it, it's different, but they're both seen as country music. They need that hyphenation. They need that traditional. They need that contemporary. And I think it's a good move for all the reasons that we're talking about. I think it will end up helping redefine a little bit of how we categorize country music within our conversations, because neither is more real than the other. I think that it allows us to think about it differently without having to have it be some weird competition about what is or isn't country, which is like my least favorite conversation of all time, because I think it's silly.
I like Grammy season as a country music fan because we get the opportunity to give the broader music community a taste of what's out there. And so I think the fact that the traditional category is available gives us more chance to show like really what the best of country music we have to offer to people that wouldn't listen to country music. Like you probably had the same experience that I have. You meet a parent at the pickup line or something, and you start talking about music and you mention that you're into country music and they are not.
Yes.
Maybe they're an anti. And so they'll throw in like the one country artist they've heard of because it was on the radio or it was on the New Year's Eve special or something. And they're trying to find common ground. If they're nice, they're trying to find common ground with you. Yeah. But it's hard in the 20 seconds at the pickup line before you have to go to give them your own opinion. Maybe try something else. Try something a little bit different if you want a real taste of the country music that I like.
Yeah, that happened to me this weekend. We dropped off our oldest at his flag football game, and we were early. I get there early and drop him off, and if the coach isn't there, I'll warm up the kids and then get out of the way as quickly as possible. And then I was talking to one of the other dads, and he's like, oh, we were talking about going out, how we don't go out as much anymore. It's like, I go out a couple times a month, sometimes even a couple times a week. He goes, oh, really? Where do you go? I said, I go to music shows and clubs and stuff like that. He's like, what are you talking about? And I went into that, and he's like, oh, I don't like country music. And I was like, okay, cool, we're done. It was one of those things that was kind of fun. Shut down. But I mean, I think it's an interesting question, right? How do you, as dads who are super into the music, are award shows in general and the Grammys specifically relevant to the dad life? I'm excited to watch them. I'm always excited to watch the Grammys. I think that they're usually the most exciting show, partly because, I'm super into music. But, you don't need to know music. You don't need to know all of the music to get the entertainment of the show. Whereas if you were watching the Tonys or the Oscars or any of the other award shows, SAG, AFRA, all of those things, you need to have seen the movies, the TV shows, the Broadway shows, whatever it is, or at least have heard the soundtrack or something.
You got to have someone to root for.
And you need some context. You need some context for what those performances are. Like a scene from a movie, you're like, oh, cool, trailer. But, otherwise it gets hard to root for that. Whereas the music, you might get exposed to someone you've never heard before and be like, oh, wow, I could dig into that. And the investment in time and energy to get into music these days is so low. And that's a different conversation. But you could easily just be like, oh, that's a great song. I'm going to listen to it now. I'm going to put it on my playlist. And I think it's a good show. It's an easy dad show because you don't have to invest a ton of time ahead of time to be ready to enjoy it.
You can dip in and out. It's a long show. It's 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching it on recording, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but it's in the background. I use it as an out-of-touch dad. I use it as a way to know what the kids
what are the kids listening to these days.
Yeah, exactly. Until the country stuff comes on, and then I'm dialed in. I've got the backstory in case anybody asks in the room.
Yeah,
I can tell them the significance. But for the other acts, there's always like some act where I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And then I feel a little old, but I also feel more in tune with culture by tuning in.
I will say you look significantly younger without your mustache and beard. It's intimidating.
Yep. Shaving, grooming myself in general, watching award shows. That's all in my quest for the fountain of youth.
Yes, well.
Here in my early, soon-to-be mid-40s.
Yeah, squarely in my mid-40s. This is no longer salt and pepper. It's just perhaps you should cut back on your salt. Anyhow.
You got to limit the sodium. Now.
You got to drink more water and have less sodium.
Yep.
Yeah, it's bad for the blood pressure. Speaking of blood pressure, our picks and predictions for these categories will blow your mind, folks. And we will do our level best to relate them back to dad issues in some cases, and in other cases they do not. However, we have to ask, and I have my pick, and I might be your pick too, but Dave, what's the biggest snub?
Speaking of blood pressure, I don't know how you've kept yourself from expressing your opinion, screaming your opinion into the microphone about the snub. But I think we probably have the same answer.
I'll let you go first.
As soon as that traditional country album category was out there, Turnpike Troubadours put out The Price of Admission, which was a great album.
Like top to bottom.
I thought it was a lock
for
being a nominee for traditional country album. First listen, first time through, I was like, this is really great.
It's the best Turnpike album there's been. I know that's saying a lot, and I could change my mind. I could debate myself on that, but it shows such restraint and such creativity and such a dedication to craft, and the production is incredible. The songwriting, so the addition and the growth of the band to do its own backing vocals and how clean and smart it was. I can't believe it didn't get nominated. I have my theories on it. I think it has to do with how they put the album out without any sort of pregame or slow drip of singles or anything like that. But, I still don't get it. I think it's flawless and it should have been nominated.
It's a shame. Maybe this will just go into the further fuel the Turnpike lore. If they're always getting snubbed, enough to keep on doing better and better work. And eventually this category sticks around. They'll get their recognition. We can hope for that.
Yeah, that was somewhat shocking. But I do think it was a product of their approach and less anything else. They put together a campaign for it to be nominated. They were out there doing interviews and whatnot around the time the nominations were happening, but not in the concerted effort that they did for Cat in the Rain, not the concerted effort that, say, Charlie Crockett was out there, or Zach Top, or Lainey Wilson, which is an unfair comparison because she has such a machine behind her. But those folks really were out there making their case, and it was not the same for Turnpike. And that's part of the allure and I think the value and probably the dad angle that I find the most compelling. Also, there were so many good songs about growing up, becoming a father, having it be complicated. It's that album we could go deep on, but that's another time. Perhaps we do that.
Maybe we should.
The Grammys. Maybe we go song by song after the Grammys and be like, this is why this sucker deserved it.
When I saw the world from up on your shoulders, I remember the view.
Yeah,
but they aren't on
if the Recording Academy won't give them their due, then the Country Music Dads will do it. We'll make up for it.
And the Country Music Dads podcast goes to Turnpike Troubadours. Evan, if you're listening, you're always welcome.
That's right.
Okay. Best country song. We have Bitin' List by Tyler Childers, Good News by Shaboozey, I Never Lie by Zach Top, Somewhere Over Laredo by Lainey Wilson, and finally, A Song to Sing by Miranda Lambert and Chris Stapleton. Let's do this thing. Who's your pick? Who do you think's going to win?
I like this list. I like the nominees. I do. I enjoyed all these songs. And we both are Tyler Childers stans on the show.
A little bit,
so,
yeah.
Bitin' List is so good, and it kind of went viral.
But airplane, I just don't like you. Not a thing about the way you is. And if there ever come a time I got rabies, you're high on my biting
It was
list.
on. It's very memeable, especially in this climate. There's a lot of just vitriol out there on social media. So to like talk about having a Bitin list for the people that you despise most, and just the way he talks about it, he's like kind of nice about it. So it was such a clever song. It's a weird song. So I was happy to see it on the list of nominees because it's out there. It made me laugh. It's very country. It had like the barking sounds
they made.
Yeah, the singers were barking on the track.
Yeah.
So I would love for this one to win, but I'm afraid it's maybe too weird.
Yeah, I can see that. Song. I'm going to give some love to some of the other songs that I don't necessarily like that much. I think Good News by Shaboozey is surprisingly well constructed.
Drown my sons, but they learn to swim.
I think that he's a very good songwriter. I think he's an incredibly cool performer. I like his music.
Yeah.
It's not my usual type of music, but I definitely don't turn off his stuff when it comes on the radio. I like it a lot. I think it's fun. Yeah. I think it's exactly what it should be, but it's like 4 steps above mindless. There are good turns of phrases. There's smart lyricism. It's interesting musically. It's everything I want in a song like that. Somewhere Over Laredo is well constructed, but I have a real hard time picturing it in any other context besides her on her private plane. So it just like, I don't really feel that vibe, you know, like it's hard for me to associate her without the fame, and it's hard for me not to see her as this massive, huge star, something that she worked for decades to achieve and has. It's hard to be like, oh, she's like sitting in the back of a Southwest flight, sad about, you know, window seat. Yeah, you took the window seat facing backwards this time as opposed to the one facing forward. You know, like, not really feeling this song.
Yeah, with your champagne to drown out your sorrows.
Not feeling it.
That one, I had a visceral reaction to that one because it's clearly a play on Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's clever.
It's well written. It's a great song.
Yeah, my reaction was more that I love Somewhere Over the Rainbow, especially the Is version. The Hawaiian ukulele player and singer. And so just hearing this perversion of that perfect song it just bothered me a little bit. So I don't want this one to win.
I hear that. I don't think it will.
Lainey has had her time.
No, I just don't think this is the one where she wins it. Honestly, I think that she also has a pretty good chance in different categories below. But I think song over performance, honestly, she probably wins it here if she wins it for this song. I think the lock on this one, I gotta say, is I Never Lie by Zach Top.
I sleep like a baby. I never show up late.
Because not only...
I didn't think you were going to say that, because that's the one that I hope wins.
Oh, I don't hope it wins. I think it does win, though. Because I love that song. I think Biting List is a much more creative song. Yeah. And I Never Lie has been written in every generation of country music. And, you know, it's a well-crafted song. It's clever. But like Eric Church wrote a song like that, and George Jones sang a song like that. And there are countless other examples of quick, witty turns of phrases of I Don't Miss You anymore. She Thinks I Still Care is the same song.
I rang her number by mistake today.
I love that song.
And like, it's a great song. Don't get me wrong, but it's the same song. It's the same concept. It's the same construct. It's the, I bumped into my ex, or my ex heard I was talking. I don't really care.
Maybe I'm biased because that's one of my favorite types of country songs. So even though it's been done over and over again, whenever I hear one, like Hayes Carl does one, She'll Come Back to Me.
I've never been hungover, and there ain't no fish in the sea, and
I can't get enough of them. So when Zach Top seemingly brought it back to the mainstream, and that's kind of his whole thing, is that he's Mr. Bring Back the 90s. He had a lot to do with the popularization of that sound coming back to the mainstream. So I feel like this is like the cherry on top. All right, Zach, nice job. Here's your award. And
But that's why he should get it for performance, in my opinion. So the song is about the writing and like the creativity of the actual song. The performance is the recording, the actual performance of it. I don't think it's that creative. And when you take a look at the other songs that are in here, Biting List is so creative. And I think that that's part of its allure. I think it's so different and it's so over the top and it's really great. I Never Lie, I think wins for all the reasons that you were outlining it. It's responsible. It has had extreme exposure on pop country radio. It's a good song too, and it's pretty. It's well done. And Somewhere Over Laredo has also been highly exposed, and Good News too. And I think Good News is also a really well constructed song. My pick that I'd love to see, obviously, is Childers for a number of different reasons. Chief among them is the creativity. But I think it's so much different.
Yeah, no argument for me there, for sure.
All right, so we've already started it. We've got Best Country Solo Performance. We got Nose to the Grindstone by Tyler Childers. Good News, again, by our good friend Shaboozey. Bad As I Used to Be by Chris Stapleton. I Never Lie by Mr. Zach Top. And Somewhere Over Laredo by Lainey. Where are you picking here?
So I get your argument about I Never Lie for Zach Top, that maybe this is the more appropriate category. Nose on the Grindstone blew me away when I heard this rendition.
Daddy worked like a mule mining Pike County coal. They messed up his
I think it was the first single that he put out off of Snipe Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was anticipating a lot because Rick Rubin was producing the album. And so this is the first taste of what Rick Rubin was going to do for Childers. And it just made me think immediately of like the Johnny Cash American recordings that Rubin produced. It was just haunting. And it gave me a new appreciation of the song because it's been around for a while. I think he recorded like an acoustic version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's played it and it's out there on YouTube. This is just, it took it to the next level, I think. It was just, it sounded different. It sounded like a different song than I'd heard before. And also it's got a dad message too. It's like he's getting dad advice. He's having a conversation with his dad about how tough life is. And he's going through the classic dad platitudes.
I think you could make that argument for Bad As I Used to Be too, Chris Stapleton. Like, oh, I used to go out, but my back hurts. And he has what, like 75 children at this point?
He does, yeah. More than Tyler does so far.
Yes. And I think more than you, which is really quite impressive.
That's right.
Like, I think he has a basketball team.
Yeah, good old Chris Stapleton. He's making Chris and Morgan are setting the tone. I'm just trying to catch up.
I'm done.
When that one was nominated, I thought for sure this is the one I'm rooting for. This is one I think should win. And the others just, I don't know. I just like forgot about the other ones. Like they're not even here.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love Nose to the Grindstone. I'm a little surprised they chose that one off of the album to push for solo performance. I don't know if that's exactly how it works. You do nominate yourself or you have someone nominate you.
You submit or you
submit,
apply.
yeah. I think it's probably the best performance because it's the solo performance. There's an argument to be made for many songs on that album to have been considered for that. Getting to the Bottom, I think, is possibly, I think honestly, Getting to the Bottom may have been a better country song, may have been a better performance. I think that's my favorite song on the album. I think there are great references and callbacks and allusions to previous work about him and drug use in that song.
Scream for water, are their brains about to swell through the soft part of their temple?
Also, it has the best description of hot weather I've ever heard. It is outstanding. And for those of you who don't know, I highly recommend you looking up the lyrics to that one. Perhaps
one of the many times when I just burst out laughing in the car when the song came on. Like I couldn't believe what he said.
Yeah. I was listening to it unbeknownst to me. I was like, oh, Tyler Childers, maybe he'll drop an F-bomb or two. And he did in the early end of the play. I was like, okay, well, that's no big deal. F-bombs are dropped. And then that description came on and my oldest son looked at me and went, I was like, damn it.
That didn't even get an E for explicit.
I know.
It's just he describes it in a very
such a vivid detail
and in a clean way somehow.
Not quite.
Get
Anyway, if you don't know the lyrics to that one, I recommend you go listen to those, perhaps with earphones and not your children, or with your children if you're into that sort of thing.
Speaking of listening to these songs with children in the car, I Never Lie, another reason that I was a fan of the song, and I would be happy to see it win either one of these, because of the irony that is the crux of that song and that type of song. I had a great conversation with my son about irony in the car, because he realized that these were all lies, and the song was called I Never Lie.
Yeah. It's cool when they catch on to that stuff.
So it has that kind of memory attached to it for me. Like, I experienced it with my kid and he understood it. So maybe it's up a level in my mind because of that moment.
My pick for this one, actually, surprisingly, I'm between of who I want to win on this. I would be completely happy with anybody but Chris Stapleton in this category. I'd love to see Childers sweep. That'd be awesome. I think that he deserves it. I think this album is seminal work, arguably top 5 most important albums, period, made last year. It's so different and so important to roots music and to country music and to modern American music. I think it is a phenomenal record. I'm actually a little surprised it didn't get a big boy category also, like the best album of the year, because it was masterfully put together. Because like looking back, sometimes, you know, the Sturgill Simpson album from way back that got nominated and was in the best album category, a really important piece of country music that was put out that influenced a decade of music going forward. This is going to influence a decade, if not more, of roots and Americana and country music. Every song on it is brilliant. Every song on it is fun. And like, that's what makes it so great, is that it's not painfully serious. It doesn't take itself seriously, but it is important. It is serious in some places. It's a real interesting piece of work. So yeah, I'm good with any of them except for Chris. Chris, buddy, apologies. Also, you're always invited on the pod. Anytime you want to come on, Dad, you're totally welcome here. But I don't think you should win this category.
Yeah. I also worry that he will, because he seems to always win.
Dave here. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. I wanted to let you know that Donnie and I are planning season 3. And as part of that, we want to hear from you, dear listener. Through February 28th, we are running a listener survey on our website. You can find it at countrymusicdads.com/feedback. It's also linked in the show notes. It'll take about 2 minutes to fill out, and I hope you do, because we are curious what you want to hear from us in season 3. What's working, what isn't, and what kinds of country music and parenting content are you looking for in 2026? Can't wait to hear from you. And again, you'll find the survey at countrymusicdads.com/feedback until February 28th. And now, back to the show.
That's a good transition into best country duos and group performances, because he has 2 chances in this one. So we have this lovely category, A Song to Sing by Miranda, Lambert, and our boy Chris Stapleton. Trailblazer by Reba, Miranda, and Lainey. So again, Miranda's got a double go here. Love Me Like You Used to Do, Margot Price and Tyler Childers. Very interesting song. Amen by Shaboozey and Jelly Roll. And then Honky Tonk Hall of Fame by no other than George Strait and Mr. Chris Stapleton.
What are your thoughts? So I want to hear what you thought first for this group.
This is an interesting group of people. This one feels very much like some of these songs were created so that they could be in a category for awards. Okay.
I'm with you there. Yeah.
Okay. Trailblazer and Honky Tonk Hall of Fame, and maybe even A Song to Sing, feel like they were developed to be like, who could we get on this to make sure we get a Grammy nom? Like, that's how this one that's how they feel to me. They're not bad songs. They're not bad performances. I'm like, really? Did we need a George Strait, Chris Stapleton?
I like that song. The song's really fun. It's a honky tonk song. And I also like that they have that kind of a song that'll be showcased at the Grammys. I think that's cool.
Picture of me sipping on my liquor if you look up a world-class fool. And I say it once again, I'm the best that's ever been.
With your all-time great George Strait and Chris Stapleton, the perennial winner, it does seem like it was just kind of let's get the all-star team together. Same with the Trailblazer song, which I like because it's interesting. You know, it's like multiple generations of female singers. It's like checking all the boxes. So I could see that one winning for that reason. And not to be too much of a Childers stan, but again, I really like that song, Love Me Like You Used to Do. It sounds different than all the other ones.
It also speaks to love that has aged, and we both have very long-term committed relationships with our.
We are aging.
We are aging
with our relationships.
With our exactly. We've been together for a long time with our wives, and there are parts of that song that speak to me loudly. I mean, you know, like there's a whole vibe of that. It's like you need to do more than sit on the couch and watch reruns. You know, and that I think is what makes it an interesting song.
We've got time. I know we do. And I believe
It just is. It's a very pretty performance. I don't think it wins. I think Amen by Shaboozey and Jelly Roll wins. And I think, honestly, that's a great performance. It's a lot of fun.
Somebody said prayer for me, 'cause the pills ran out and I still can't sleep. Somebody send a word
But
upstairs, 'cause
with the message, I don't know if I love the message. I don't know if I'm really pleased with the utilization of monochromatic religious expression as part of something that should be central to country music. Whether or not it always has been or not, the use of it in this context feels different to me as an observer and an outsider to that religion than, say, gospel albums past, like a George Jones gospel album, or, you know, the gospel that made its way into different parts of it. This feels much more intentional of like, hey, look, this is us. This is what we do. And I don't love that. I think that that's a somewhat strange place to be a fan of if that's not your expression. But that's a good song and that's a good performance. And I think they'll want to award both of those guys. And I think that people have heard them both all over the place for the past year and a half. And not only did they, you know, do their time and get their due, it's a good song. It's a good performance, a great recording of it too. And so there's a lot going for Amen. I think that one wins. And really, I think
we hope the Margo Price Tyler Childers song wins.
I think so too.
The depth of the message there.
It speaks to me. It's much more personal to me. But I think that Amen wins because it's of the moment. I think that that's the one that takes it. And I think that we can get into this as we get to the real exciting categories here. But I think that the reason why Margo Price's album is in traditional and Tyler's is in contemporary is a testament to approach and concept. And I think that this song, it is on Margo Price's album. It is a great song and placed in such an interesting place on her album. It's such a traditional song in a modern context. It is a wildly powerful duet, not a featured artist. It is a duet. It is a classic Tammy and George type of song. And you could hear them singing that song. You could hear any of these groups, any of those duets from that time period. Could be Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty could have sung this one. It would have been a little bit funnier, but I think they could have done it. And I think that Tammy and George could have done it. And I think a number of other big name duets could have covered this song. But, you know, it's all the more powerful that Margo wrote it with her husband, Jeremy Ivey. And like, there's just a lot in it that I think is really quite impressive. Then again, I don't think it's, but that's just me.
Moving along to the albums, the big hitters. So we'll start with Best Traditional Country Album. There was Dollar a Day by Charlie Crockett, American Romance by Lucas Nelson, Oh, What a Beautiful World by Willie Nelson, Hard-Headed Woman by Margot Price, and Ain't In It For My Health, Zach Top.
It's
Again,
tough.
I mean, I'm so happy that they had this whole list. Just makes me happy because they had the opportunity, the traditional country album categories here, and we get to celebrate these albums, like albums that I feel like in years past wouldn't have been on the list. Like something like Dollar a Day by Crockett.
Sometimes I wonder if I should stay.
That's the kind of person I want to bring forward to my non-country music appreciating friends and say, give this one a try. Doesn't this vibe appeal to you?
Yeah.
It's a great album. Charlie's put out so many albums, but like this one, this one's gotten a lot more listens from me.
It's a
than
great album.
some of those other ones because it sticks with you. It's got a lot of variety.
The writing's
Shooter
good.
Jennings.
The
Shooter
writing's
Jennings
good. The
produced this
production
one.
is great too.
Yeah, it's great. His voice is great. It's just his voice is addictive, and so that's why I want non-country music fans to like hear this guy and know who he is and give him a try, and then maybe give other traditional country music artists a try too.
I agree with that 100%. And I think that this, as opposed to the negative storyline of Beyonce winning the category last year, I think the positive of Charlie Crockett for what was a wildly country music album and Sierra Farrell with a wildly country music album, both being nominated in Americana last year. Those two albums had no place in an Americana space. Those were country music albums. And I think part of that is why you take a look at a lot of the Americana over the years. It was very much traditional country music done with a little bit more, I don't know, attitude or something. I'm really happy that Crockett is up for this. I think that his trilogy of albums that he's working on with Shooter has elevated him to a new level. I think his record deal and his management has elevated him to a new level, and it's great to see that he's here. It's fantastic. I have no interest in him winning this cat. That's my statement.
Okay.
I don't think he will because I just don't. But I also, this is not my pick for this one. American Romance by Lucas Nelson is just so lovely. And again, speaks to people who are aging a little bit, who have different expectations and dreams.
God ain't done with you.
And I like this album a lot. It's really spectacular. Top to bottom. Top to bottom. It's spectacular. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful album.
Yeah, that was another one that struck me just on the first time through. There's just this certain songs that I would be doing something else and just have to sit there and restart it. And yeah, it was a great album. Very cool. He's nominated in the same category as his dad. And I mean, does anyone beat Willie Nelson in this category? He's another one like Stapleton. I feel like he's always winning this kind of thing, especially like when it's something like the Grammys.
It would be unfortunate. I'll say it. I think that you can't say enough about Willie Nelson. The guy's 90 years old. He's been doing this for 70 years. He has some of the most important written songs in any genre. He has written probably more than anybody in any recorded place, in large part because he's been doing it for 70 years. But this album is not as good as the other ones that are in this category. It just isn't. And I think the fact that the album's good, don't get me wrong, there's some great songs on it. There's some great performances on it. It's well constructed. It's well produced. The order is smart. There's nothing wrong with this.
It's the girl and a boy.
It's a good country music album. His son's album is better, without question. Charlie Crockett's album is better. Zach Top's album's fine. But Margot Price has the best album in this category. The best constructed, best thought out, best laid out, best written, best produced album right here. And maybe not best produced. I don't know enough to know that it's the best produced. But the song order, the approach, the song choice, the way she wrote it, the songs she chose that she didn't write, there's nothing wrong with the album. And it's artistic and smart and creative and exactly a critic's darling type of album.
There's a new town coming my way on this never-ending highway. I miss my baby's birthday. Feeling sorry.
And
worse
it 100% deserves to win this category. It's the best album that's on this list. And, you know, there's no one here who doesn't deserve to be here.
That's why I worry about the Willie Nelson album, because like when I listened through, I was preparing myself to not like it because, again, it's like we've heard Willie for so many years. I think I know what this is going to sound like. There's just a reason that he's a legend. So I was like, you know what? I like this. This is good. He doesn't make bad stuff.
No,
And
he doesn't.
So it's almost unfair when he comes into a category like this.
All right, let's talk about Zach Top for a second.
Okay.
This,
So I'm a little confused. This is not the same album with I Never Lie on it. The timing seems off to me.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, the singles off this one were like Splitsville and South of Sanity.
Yeah, my favorite song on this one was definitely the one about swerving and crashing your car.
Between the Ditches.
Thank you, Between the Ditches.
As I go left, sometimes a little too far right. Yeah, I'm good at
That's my
crossing
favorite song on that
line
album.
and needing
I also think this is not his best album. Cold
Agreed.
Beer and Country Music is a better album.
Yeah, the one with I Never Lie on
Mhm.
it. That was the Zach Top album right there.
Yeah,
So I was surprised to see it on the list, actually.
yeah. It's well constructed. The songs flow together. It's fine, but I really don't think it's that good. I don't think it's as good as Cold Beer and Country Music. But I don't think we were ready to nominate Cold Beer and Country Music last year because we had too many major kind of contemporary albums to do. That said, it's not as good as the other. It just isn't. But Zach Top and his machine deserved to be at the Grammys for what they've done. What they've made, but for what they've done. Come at me, Zach. If I see you out there in the street, I will be very nice to you. You seem like a nice kid. But like, dude, like find your voice. We don't need another one of whoever you're making an image of. And that's the thing that I think is just really frustrating about this album. Like his first one, fine. Try to sound like the Kings of the early 90s. I think that's a totally normal thing to do. Everybody did it. George Jones did it. Johnny Cash did it. George Strait did it. You know, all of those guys tried to sound like somebody else, and then they found their voice. I was hoping that he would on this album. I don't think he did yet. Maybe the next one he will. I don't know. He's not going anywhere. He's a major star of the genre, and he's making a lot of music.
Yeah, let's see the next pivot from Zach Top.
Yeah. I don't even need him to pivot. I just need him to find his voice. I want it to sound like Zach Top. I don't need it to sound like any of the other dudes who have already done this. And it's unfortunate it wasn't Cold Beer and Country Music because that's a much better album. Just hands down. That said, if Margot Price doesn't win this one, I'm renouncing my Grammy membership. I'm not a Grammy member, so
Are you a member at the museum or something?
no, I always go with my library card.
Okay.
It's a great museum. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
It is. It is. Yeah, and I feel like that album, too, for our time, she's edgy and she has some social commentary in there. This would be
It would be a good win.
a really good win for sure.
I'd love to see what she has to say, given a mic on national television.
Oh, yeah.
The censors better be quick on the button. Okay, still the last one.
You don't sound excited to talk about the best contemporary country album, but you already said your piece about Snipe Hunter
I did.
by Tyler Childers. The other albums, if you care to hear, there's Patterns by Kelsey Ballerini, Evangeline versus the Machine, Eric Church, Beautifully Broken by Jelly Roll, Postcards from Texas, Miranda Lambert.
Couple of edits I'd like to make to this category. Number one, Postcards from Texas belongs in the traditional country music album. You can come fight me on that, but Miranda Lambert has always made what could be considered modernized traditional Texas country music.
That's true. That one didn't seem to fit.
That doesn't fit there.
It's fun, but yeah, it would have been a better matchup to pit it against the others.
Yep. And I think, with due respect to the younger Nelson, who is in the traditional album, American Romance could have been in another category. It could have been Americana. It could have even been contemporary country music, because it's definitely a country album. There's no two ways about it. But it leans a little bit more towards the Americana side of that Venn diagram. It's squarely in country, but it could have been elsewhere. It deserves to be nominated. Don't get me wrong. It is fabulous. But Postcards from Texas, I think,
could have seen those two switched. Miranda.
It could have been.
People switched.
Yeah. I think Texas country music is always modern. And that's a big statement, however you want to take it. Go back all the way to Western Swing and Bob Wills and all that. That's modern. It's incorporating other different things, or different genres to create something that is exciting for the modern times, for the dance hall, for what's going on. And, fast forward all the way to like the early 90s and mid 90s and late 90s, you have like Pat Green and Robert Earl Keen a little bit earlier. And like those guys are making Texas country music, which is modern and different, but it's still deeply rooted in acoustic guitar, electric guitar, fiddle, drums, that sound. And you can kind of see, and they're different. The influences are different. And Miranda Lambert's no different in my mind. Like, she's always said, GTFO, I'm going to do what I want. And I'm going to create the music that I want to be making. All the way back to her first album in the mid-90s. So, like, I think there may be a misconception. I think it's a good album. I really do. I liked it when it came out. I thought the singles were smart and fun. I thought great.
I met an armadillo out in Amarillo, and he asked me for a ride. I said,
I'm a
"Where
big
you
Miranda
going?" He
Lambert
said,
fan. I saw
don't
her in
even know.
Vegas. I
And
saw
said,
her show in
"Where?"
Vegas. I thought it was fun. I think she puts on a great show. I think it was a very great Vegas experience. I like her. I think this is a good album. It has a chance to win, but I don't think it will. I obviously would love to see Snipe Hunter win for all the reasons I outlined before. Jelly Roll can take a back seat. Don't need to talk about him. I congratulate him on his health journey.
He had the cover of Men's Health.
I have
Jelly
no
Roll.
interest in him. I think he seems like a real nice guy.
I am not okay. I'm barely getting by. I'm losing track of
He's going to try to sell me on something. I feel like it's either something like a multi-marketing scheme, or like he wants me to come to church for the supper. It's just for the food, man. Don't worry about it. We'll just talk about Jesus. I get it. You do you, buddy. I'm going to do me. I don't like him. I don't like his music. I get a weird vibe from him. And I don't think the
Are you afraid he's going to win this category, though?
Yeah, I am afraid of
This is
it.
contemporary. This is like the direction that radio country is going, and he's one of the biggest superstars over there now.
I think that here's the question.
And I mean, I don't think a lot of the songs are bad either.
No,
like, I think
they're
think
perfectly fine.
The songs are good. Like, I don't really like listening to his voice personally.
Yeah.
I actually wish he would rap more, because I think he's better at rapping than he is at singing. As a former country rapper, the way he delivers the verses can sound good, but I didn't enjoy the album. It was very long.
Yes. And that's another thing that I think is problematic with the new radio approach, this 30, 28 song, 50 song, 120 song album thing. It's a flex on a number of different levels, but it just shows a lack of editing and construction of an album. I think that's an important element of this. It's not an enjoyable listening experience after the first hour. Like, enough already, dude. I will say Evangeline versus the Machine blew my socks off when I heard it the first time. I listened to it 10 times that weekend. It's high on my list of songs and albums that I loved last year.
So run, get your fiddle bow and send him to hell again. Yeah, back to hell again.
I didn't write about it in my year-end review because Eric Church doesn't need any love from me. I thought it was really good, and I think it also shows his progression and maturity. Like, he's gotten more. There's more of Eric Church than there was. The thing,
Yeah, I also, in spite of myself, I really like that album, because
you don't like. Are you not an Eric Church fan?
I'm not a big Eric Church guy.
Hold on.
And then
Why not?
those are the wrong kind.
I know
I've
them
got
here.
the Aviators. I've got the Aviators near the front. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like he's genuine. He doesn't convince me. And then he tries different things as an artist, and I can appreciate that. But I also feel like he expects his fans to love everything that he puts out there, even when it's like a little confusing.
Counterpoint, Snipe Hunter.
Yeah, so I'm checking myself a little bit, because like I did, again, in spite of myself, I'm not a big Eric Church guy, but like Evangeline versus the Machine, I think that worked.
That was
That
a
really
good
worked.
album.
It was really good, and it's different. I
But
think
it's
he did a
still
great
like
job.
truly country. There's like a real vibe to it.
Yeah.
I think
Then yeah,
The sleeper in this category is Patterns by Kelsey Ballerini, because that sucker is good.
Maybe more than I like healing. I like the feeling of the feeling that leaves me staring.
That is a
at the
great
ceiling.
artistic country album that is modern and progressive in the musical sense and in the content sense. I thought, I don't like Kelsey Ballerini all that much. She doesn't make music for me. I'm not a younger woman, but that doesn't mean I can't like what they're making. It doesn't speak to me as clearly as, these old guys with white beards. There's something to it. Or older women who have experience in life, like Margot, she's our age and she's seen some and I don't know Kelsey's story. I don't know what her deal is. I don't know what she's been through. That album, that's a sleeper in this category, and I think it very much could easily take it, and it would be well deserved. I mean, my bias against Jelly Roll aside, all of these albums are well placed in this category and could win it. I think the weaknesses of Jelly Roll's singing, the length of the album, and the boring quality of the songs, because they get a little repetitive. Any one of these albums could win because they are very interesting and different. Postcards from Texas is a departure for Miranda Lambert, too. It is a trek back to what she wanted to be making all along. Eric Church's album is great. Tyler Childers' album is like mind-blowing. There's nothing in this category that doesn't deserve to be here. Obviously, I'm rooting for Tyler Childers. I would be fine with anybody winning it, but Jelly Roll.
Gotcha. You called Kelsey Ballerini's album a sleeper. It actually put me to sleep.
Very calming.
And so that one didn't stick out to me. None of the songs really caught my attention.
I thought it was
kind of
really
sounds like a lot of different pop artists.
Mm-hmm.
I did check myself a little bit with the love for Snipe Hunter because I'm so invested in Tyler Childers' journey from drugs to being sober and maintaining his talent and his artistry and his songwriting through all that. And I was looking forward to this album, and then it delivered for me. My judgment is skewed because I'm a fan already.
Yeah.
I think maybe it might be too weird.
I think that's
hope
why,
it's not.
I think that's
hope it
why
wins,
it's not in the album of the year. But it also has a dance song on it. So you got Watch Out.
Watch out where you sneak in the woods without a little listening. You don't want to creep.
That's pure dad music right there. It's telling your kid what you should and shouldn't do while walking in the woods. It's universal. I gotta say, it's a really great album. I've talked myself out of it a bit, but
And Rick
it's
Rubin
great.
is like a kingmaker too. So his name's on the album, that alone should give it a leg up. Although I think that my official prediction is that Eric Church, Chief, takes it home for Evangeline vs. the Machine.
I do too. I could be convinced to say Jelly Roll takes this category. I know.
You just
I
don't
have
want to say that, but now it's on.
It's been recorded. I think that it does.
Yeah.
Part of this is, and this goes to the whole country genre, is that you only get to vote in so many categories. I think, because I read the rules of the voting for the Grammys, and they are wildly complicated. You don't get to vote in every single category. And if you don't know people that well, or you don't know the music that well, or you don't know the genre very well, you may skip it. Country music, while wildly popular right now, doesn't have the same respect as some of the other even roots-based genres that are in the Grammy nomination categories, and sometimes that leads to people to skipping it. So if they're going to go into it and they are not wildly invested in the range of country music, and they don't want to listen to 10 full albums to get caught up, they may go through this and say, you know what, that Jelly Roll character has been everywhere, and he's been doing great work, and he has been popular on the radio, and he's clearly has the ear of critics who care about this. He gets my vote. Or they just skip it altogether. And I think that a little bit of this is the history is made by the people who show up aspect. I think that could flip both ways for him. But I do think that the casual listener who finds all of those albums to be interesting and good, has no kind of backstory or bias against him, may say this guy deserves it because of the work he did. I think that's why Zach Top is here. I think people said, oh, this guy deserves it. And there's something to that. But yeah, I hope he doesn't win it because I don't think his album is as good as the others that are in this list.
There you have it. So tune in on Sunday alongside us as we find out who actually takes home the prize. Thank you for listening as we previewed the Grammy Awards for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you agreed, disagreed, were triggered by anything that we said, let us know in the comments on Instagram. The best way to support us is to subscribe to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast platform you use. If you want to see new episodes and more content delivered straight to your email inbox, please subscribe to our newsletter, countrymusicdads.substack.com. You can find everything we do on our website, countrymusicdads.com, and we'd love to hear what you think, so send us comments, suggestions, friendly banter on Instagram at countrymusicdads, or via email, countrymusicdads@gmail.com.
Stay tuned to our next episode, and until next time, whether you're at the dance hall, the playground, or just folding some laundry while watching the Grammys, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.